Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The scenario is a one-shot that we have played a number of times before, Hand of Glory. It was written by Alan Carey, and it's available from Chaosium on the Miskatonic repository. I'm the Game Master, and this is our 5th version. So without any further delay, let's begin our journey into the darkness. It's one of those overcast days on the North Yorkshire moors. The landscape is composed of low, flattened hills covered in grasses, heathers, and wildflowers interspersed with groves of trees. Birds chirp and insects buzz around. The croaking of frogs can be heard from shady spots near the mossy creeks. Some find the moors monotonous and boring, but as part of the North Yorkshire Ramblers, you are happy to be here. It's late June, and the temperature is moderate, despite the sun being hidden behind the clouds. As you walk along, you begin... Oh, wait, sorry. At that point, you guys can say some stuff. Have a conversation.
Well, it's a bit of an overcast day, boys, but...
Chip, let's ramble.
Yeah, let's get on with it. It's a pleasant day, no risk of overheating. The rain's...
Yes, lovely day for a hike. Lovely day.
Did anybody bring the paper?
For a hike?
Today's
Well,
day.
Howard, I thought you were. I have an almanac.
Well, as you all know, since we're such vast chums, that I like to take breaks often on our hikes. I am a man of action, but only in short bursts.
Everything in moderation.
In fact, that stump under that tree looks like a lovely spot to have a quick repast.
It's a sensible
Who brought the finger sandwiches?
Oh, don't worry, I have them.
Always coming through, William, with the food.
Of course.
Jolly
Why,
good.
I wouldn't be agreeing if I didn't bring the food. That'd be silly.
It is about time for a second breakfast.
So you sit, you have a nice little, a small meal, you know. After that, you walk on for a while, and the moors are kind of monotonous. There's just the same thing over and over again. But those of you who want to roll luck, you'll notice some bird that you've got on your list that you need to check off. I've seen it, you know, gray-spotted warbler or something along that line. But as you walk along, you begin to notice a few drops of afternoon rain, and you hear the faint sounds of thunder in the distance. There is a stand of trees close by where you hope to take shelter, but when you arrive, you realize that the wet foliage just seems to drip on you even more than the sky is. You realize that there is a wide path that cuts through the grove, and there are old ruts in the damp clay. A little while on, and you see up ahead an old coaching inn, where in days gone by, stagecoaches might stop for a rest and a bite to eat. There must not be much traffic these days, but there is smoke drifting up out of the chimney, which indicates that there are people within. As you approach, you can see that there are lights on. There is a raised porch that goes all the way around, and there is a sign hanging on the front that says, Witchwood Grove Inn. What would you like to do?
Well,
it is spelled, interestingly enough, Wychwood.
Well, this is a good bit of fortune.
Indeed. I thought we'd be soaked to the bone.
Looks warmer in there than it is out here. Maybe we can dry off our sweaters and have a pint.
At least until the rain stops. Hopefully we're not stuck here for too long. But
have any of you lads been here before?
I've never heard of this place.
Can't say that I have.
I guess we're not very regular in our ramblings.
As you come up to the front of the building, you can see that there are a number of walking sticks that have been placed outside. There's kind of a bucket where all the bottoms are stuck in and they're leaning up against the wall. Some of them look like just sticks. Some of them look like, older, nicer, hand-carved things. And from the porch, you can hear there is noise inside. It sounds like maybe there's a radio playing or something somewhere inside. And there's that sort of low murmuring din that, you'd hear from an inn.
Well, seems like some other folks are out caught in the rain, too. At least we'll be in good company. Hopefully, and some good drinks.
Yes, quite.
As you open the door, you are greeted by the smell of roasting meat and yeasty beer. The floorboards creak as you enter. There are more people in here than you expected, sitting at tables around the room. Must be farmers and other locals. They are rather rustic in their appearance. Some are drinking and some are eating, but they go silent and turn to look at you as you enter. The only sound remaining, a small radio on the bar, not very loud. A man behind the bar, the barkeep, wipes his hands and puts on a big smile, and he moves over to greet you. Afternoon, folks. Welcome to Witchwood Grove Inn. I'm the owner, name of Addison Boulder. Please have a seat over there. We don't get many people nowadays. Have you been out rambling?
Indeed, we have.
Don't you know it?
Can I get you something to eat, to drink? We have whiskey and ale, coffee, tea, and I can bring you a Plowman's to snack on if you're hungry, though we have stew and bread as well.
I'd have a hot toddy.
I'll have a cup of tea, please.
Oh, I think a pint sounds just grand.
Make that 2.
Yeah. Whatever you have to warm us up, I think would be very good.
Rightio. And he moves back towards the bar, and the people go back to what they're doing, which you're not, it's not unexpected that they would be making glances in your direction. You are strangers. They all seem to be part of the community or whatever.
So they don't look like they were out and got caught in the rain. They look more, I guess, like regulars.
Yeah.
What time of day is it? Are they older or something? Or
Well, at this point, it's afternoon, so we'll say 3:00. It's
And
the
so-
middle of summer, so the sun's going to be out until 8.
Mhm.
Okay. But does the crowd seem to be just mostly older gents, or is there a mix of ages, genders?
There's men
within?
and women here. They do seem to be sort of grouped in groupings of families, men and women. Do a spot hidden for me.
Chaps and chapesses.
And what day of the week is it?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Let's call it
We'll
a
say
Tuesday afternoon.
Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. Cool. How'd you do?
Extreme success. 7 under 60.
Well, you're not sure if it's local custom, whether it's just politeness or something along that lines, but you do not see any children in the groups.
Oh,
Maybe
at least
people
this.
just don't bring their kids to pubs.
Thank God.
Maybe at school.
So Addison brings you your food. It smells delicious. He
Thank
brings
you, my
your
good man.
drinks. He says, so you come rambling very often. We haven't seen you before.
We tend to tour around different parts, different times a year, and trying to see all that this continent has to offer.
How'd you find us? We're kind of off the beaten trail.
By chance.
Oh, yep. Don't you know it? We were getting rained out, trying to scramble through the woods, trying to keep dry, and happened to stumble across the place.
Well, you folks enjoy yourselves.
Well,
Thank you very much, Mr. Boulder.
We're off to a good start.
What's the decor of the place like, if there's any?
Kind of English pubby. It's
Okay.
it's mostly browns. There's curtains on the windows. There's knickknacks here and there.
Is there a stuffed boar's head? Excuse me, I got excited. A stuffed boar's head or anything like that?
There's not a stuffed boar's head, but do a spot hidden for me as you're looking around.
Oh, that might be a success.
Success.
It is.
There is a high shelf up behind the bar. At first you think that it's got some sort of a big fat bottle up there. But when you look closer, it's more like a glass bell, like the ones they used to put over big, the fancy clocks.
Sure.
A glass bell over the top of it.
Sure.
It's up there.
Specimen container. Yeah.
There's something in there, but it's dark. I mean, it's up on the shelf. It's kind of dark. It looks something black, but you don't know what it is. And as it is, it's just a knickknack amongst other knickknacks. And there are, some books and some old newspapers and things like that too, and a dart board maybe, though nobody's playing darts.
Oh, we could play darts.
Indeed, we could.
Oh, I see you're feeling rested already.
You are all actually feeling quite rested. You're feeling comfortable. The warmth of the place is very pleasant. The food was delicious. The beer, the ale, the whatever you were drinking is delicious. You said maybe you're going to play darts.
Yeah. Is there any? Are people mostly ignoring us? It's all fairly standard.
Yeah, well, they're ignoring you, but at the same time, once in a while, they'll glance over in your direction.
Right. If we're moving about, they look at us. But it's all fairly standard pub behavior.
So, who of you are going to get up to play darts?
Oh, I shall.
I'll play darts with my friend Howard.
Okay.
Come on, Patrick. We're childhood friends. Let me beat you at darts again.
So, Howard and William, as you're standing up, you're starting to stand up, you're pushing your seats back. It kind of feels at that moment like the room is pitching to the side a little bit. You put your hand back to sort of catch your balance, but you realize that you're quite dizzy.
Oh, my.
Pint hit you harder than you expected?
I sit down. Having one of my spells.
You still feel warm and comfortable, but you're a little foggy,
That drink did go straight to my head.
Maybe you overexerted yourself on the our walk. Patrick stands up to kind of go over and look at him.
Yes,
Patrick, also, when you stand up, you realize that it's almost like you're on a sailing ship. That's like the ground is moving out from under your feet a little bit, and you find you're all sort of a little dizzy. At that point, you see the barkeep looking over in your direction, and he turns to the rest of the crowd and he says, "I think it's about time we started." And he climbs up and he gets that bell thing off of the top shelf and brings it down. And when he does, and it comes into the light, you can see that inside of it, there is something that looks maybe like a black candle. But as he removes the bell, you realize that it's shaped like a hand. And its fingers are all closed except its index finger, which is sticking up. And you see him strike a match and bring the match towards the finger. It seems like the finger suddenly catches fire, and then everything begins to swim around you, and everything goes black.
Not feeling too well. Maybe I stood up too fast.
Well, your consciousness goes.
Oh, darn.
As you slowly emerge from the darkness within your mind, the first thing that you notice is an odd foul smell, kind of like sausage water that's been boiling all day. The surface of the table is rougher than you remembered. You haven't opened your eyes yet, but you can feel that the air is colder. You hear a man's voice somewhere nearby. You think it's probably the barkeep. Auntie, please, you have to release us from this curse. It's been 5 years. And then an old, cranky voice responds, you be a fool, and the others along with you. You took from me, so I took from you. We've made no bargain. Your time is through. As you slowly open your eyes, the room is dark and the fireplace light is low. And it takes you a second to realize that this is a different place, not the inn. This building is old, ancient, wattle and daub construction, like something from 500 years ago. You can smell the mud and the dung in the air. The windows are dirty and small. The wall is brown like the earth. And there are things, bundles of dry plants and herbs hung from the rotting rafters, and firelight from the hearth, and shadows too deep to penetrate. You attempt to move, and you realize that your wrists are shackled to the table in front of you. Your legs seem to be restrained. You struggle for a moment. The man across the room begs, Auntie, please, no more. No more, it's silence for you. These little conies are waking up, and we have to decide what to do. The barkeep, you see him, he shakes for a moment, and then he slumps forward, unresponsive at the end of the table, drool dripping from his slightly open mouth. From out of the shadows emerges an old crone of a woman in heavy, tattered clothes, her back arched with age. Her robes drape to the floor and cover her almost completely. A cowl covers her head. You would expect her to be small, but from your position on the table with the chains, she looms larger than you might expect, and her form is exaggerated by her hunched back, making her look like a small mountain of gray wool. She smiles, a crooked smile, and her face is so wrinkled and deep that it looks like tree bark. As she creaks towards you, it's then that you notice that both of her hands are missing. From the scars, it looks like they've been cut off years ago. Well, now, let's see what we've got. The cur makes a dogged deal and brings all of you. He brings me 10, but I only needs 2. She begins to walk toward up to the table where you guys are chained.
Who are you? Where are we?
How tightly are we chained? I give a mighty yank on the chains.
Yeah, they're iron. You're shackled almost flat against the table. You can't lift them at all.
I look around at, do we all look like ourselves wearing our same clothes?
Yes.
Is this just a dream?
No, it feels quite real. The iron is cold. She says, you can call me Auntie. Everyone else does. As to where you are, why, you're in my home, little conies.
How did we get here?
This one here, this cur, he brought you, hoping to sacrifice you to appease my anger. But he's a fool.
Is it the same barkeep
Yes.
wearing the same clothes?
Yep. And he's now hunched over, drooling at the end of the table.
Well,
Coward.
She moves forward and she's like, what shall we do? What shall we do?
I'm very sorry that that man incurred your wrath, madam, but I would very much like to go home with my friends, please.
What is it that you're so angry about, if you don't mind my asking?
Anything to do with the stumps?
They took my hands, and I want them back. 'Tis been 5 years, and my patience is finished.
Why would they do that?
She says, so I have to figure out what to do with ye. You weren't part of any kind of bargain that I made.
Well, I mean, if you let us go, we promise we'll just leave.
We won't tell a soul.
Why don't you just take the barkeep's hands?
Sort of brightness comes into her eyes, and she says, I'll let you go if you do me a favor.
What are your terms?
I'm racking my mind, wondering if I know any old stories about witches or things on the moors. And I'm hoping you'll let me make a history check.
Sure.
I was wondering the same thing, but maybe an occult check.
Sure.
Oh, Christ. I'm too rattled. 97.
I'm not faring any better. 91.
Well, I think just from your experience, you can tell it's something like that.
Mm.
She says, a bargain. You're willing to make a bargain. Well, then.
Wait, there was a candle in the shape of a hand. Perhaps it was your hand in a glass jar that the barkeep had. Where's that?
It's in the bar. It's in the pub. Retrieve it for me, and my other one as well. Bring it back here, and I'll let you go.
Where's the other?
It's in
But
that
you have to let
same-
us go so that we can go to the pub?
You're right. I'll have to let you go. But I'll need some reassurance. And she looks over at Addison, who's slumped over. Not you, Alexa. Stop. Damn, Alexa. She looks over at Addison, and she raises up one of her stumped arms. And when she does, she points at Charlie with her stump. Addison raises up almost like he's a puppet, like he's being puppeted. He moves towards her kitchen. He picks up a giant cleaver. He walks towards the table and brings it down on one of Charlie's hands or wrists, slicing it off. Charlie, there is a moment of sharp pain, and then surprisingly nothing at all. There's a little bit of blood on the table, but not very much. And she smiles, and your hand suddenly quivers and rises up and starts moving towards Auntie at the end of the table. It then turns itself around. She brings down her stump, and you see sinews reaching out of her arm and into the hand, and the hand attaches itself to her, and she raises it up like this. You can all do sanity rolls.
Ah!
My God, Matt, this is impossible.
Oh, no, steady on.
We're merely
steady on.
hallucinating.
What have you done that for?
Ooh, that's a failure.
Bollocks.
Pass.
That lousy barkeep just spiked our drinks is all. Men, stiff up a lip.
Oh,
That is a pass.
You mad woman.
I think I've wet my knickers.
If you pass, take 2 points. If you fail, did anybody fail?
Yep.
Do a 1d4.
Ooh, 4.
3. It's nothing. Merely a mental hiccup.
4.
Good thing that wasn't your shop counting hand, Charlie.
I prefer to have both of them.
She says, now we have one bit of insurance. Do we have a bargain then? You bring back me hands, and I'll give you back yours.
Oh, it's bloody useless now. It's off.
Well, no, hang on then. forgive me for being so forward, but it sounds like this is, we need to make a deal with you in order for you to do something to us. What hypothetically would happen if we did nothing?
We haven't made a deal yet, and she chopped off Charlie's hand.
Yes, and Addison over there happened to make a deal with her, and look what wound up to him.
He's got
Pardon
two.
me.
Just take his.
No, we stop. Dan, stop arguing with her. We'll do it. We'll do whatever you want.
You ask me why I can't take Addison's hand, because I don't have a deal with him. He's ruined his deal. He's useless now.
Patrick, all the more reason not to agree to this. This is madness.
I think we've a binding agreement with Charlie's severed hand, and we'll happily go fetch your hands for you.
Whatever gets us out of this madness.
Well, wait. What if we can't find the other hand? What happens then?
If you don't do this for me, we'll all be trapped here forever together. Says, but I only have one now. I needs two. Who shall it be? Who will sacrifice their hand? Shall I choose or shall you?
Well, you're not getting both of mine.
Oh, I'm squirming.
Why do you need to take two? We've already agreed.
What good is insurance? She says, insurance.
Are our mugs still on the table?
No, you're not in the same building anymore.
Oh. All right. Take the left one.
Daniel.
A volunteer.
Do it
Good
then.
sign.
But this is no bargain.
You can't hold your hand out. You're still strapped.
Oh, well, I try, like just pulling against the thing. But please, the left one.
She reaches down and grabs the whole. Yeah, well, we'll have to decide. She took the right one, I guess, then from Charlie.
Or she could have two
picks
left
up-
hands.
She picks up the cleaver and whack, chops off Dan's left hand, and the same thing happens. It skitters across the floor. There's pain for only a split second, and then just like nothing, just numbness. You see the stump on the end of her arm opens up and melds itself to the hand. She's like, "Well done. These will do nicely, but bring me my hands back, and I will give these back to you. I'll put them back on you and repair them and let you go back home."
What could be better?
So do we seal the bargain?
I'm less convinced this is a hallucination, gents.
Yes, we agree. We will find your hands if you return their hands.
She makes a kind of a gesture with her new hands. And she recites this little, I guess you'd call it an incantation, a bargain to undo the deed. Return what they took and you will be freed. 2 hands taken, 2 hands repaid. On this eldritch night is made. And the shackles suddenly release themselves from your arm. There's shackles on your feet too, but those also release. Now go. Follow the path outside. It'll take you back to the damned Witchwood Inn.
Immediately stand up and
Yeah, you don't have to tell me
bolt out
twice.
the door.
Yep.
Okay.
Well,
What's-
the
I
one
look at Charlie. The end of Charlie's stump. Is it an open wound? Is it?
It's healed over the way hers was, and there's no blood.
I say, do any of you have a hook? Anything I could make this more sporting?
I'm afraid not.
Maybe back at the pub we could take off one of the tops of the canes and try that. Wrap it up
Well,
with some cloth.
I still say it's about time to go home.
We could just leave. I assume we're
Without the
outside
hat.
right now.
This was a small
No,
price to pay.
you're
Thank
still
God I'm
inside. You're
right-handed.
heading towards the door.
Okay.
Are you going to go outside?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So you step outside. Of course, you don't really know where you are. You are obviously in the middle of a clearing, in the middle of a forest. I would like you all to do spot hiddens. It's also nighttime. It's
Got a
dark.
Hard success.
I can't
That
see
is
a damn thing.
That's a 99.
Oh, I think I have some blood loss. I can't see anything out here.
Where in the hell are we? Where are
So
we?
did anybody pass?
I got a hard success.
Okay.
It's so
Right.
dismal here. We must be in Scotland.
So to describe what this little scene is like, Charlie steps out of the house first, followed by William and the rest of you. Charlie takes a few steps. There's like a little porch. Everything is kind of dilapidated, kind of overgrown all around it. Charlie takes a couple steps away from the house, and he turns back around, maybe in curiosity to see what the actual place looks like. And William curiously does the same thing. So they're kind of facing towards you as you are facing towards them. But you guys are looking at the ground and the plants and the growth on the ground. Charlie suddenly, his eyes look up and his mouth drops open. And Charlie, you can do another sanity roll.
Great.
It'll just be a 0 or a 1. But as he looks up, you see this pale look on his face as he looks up. So you probably all turn and curiously look. There is a gigantic orange planet floating in the sky in one direction. And there is a moon off in the distance, a blue one. And there are stars and nebula all around you that your astronomy, it baffles your mind. You can all do sanity if you haven't already.
Oh man,
see
this has
this.
got to. This
Made that one.
This I think is
Okay.
my worst rolling night ever. That is 000.
So I made my sanity roll. Would I be able to make an astronomy roll to just instantly try and figure out what I
Sure.
am seeing?
Absolutely. William, you take 3 points of damage because you're just like,
And that brings me down
Um,
from.
you do an intelligence roll. Just I want to see.
Yep.
Damn, what stars are these?
I
Just made it 63 under 65.
and
Okay.
that is a extreme intelligence success.
Okay, so William, you fully realize you ain't on Earth anymore, and Dan, you also realize you have no idea where you are. You don't even recognize the planets. This is somewhere else in the universe. All of the rest of you, you're just dumbfounded at what you're seeing.
Well,
They're all wrong. All the stars are wrong. This isn't possible.
Oh my God!
You don't see a single constellation that you recognize.
how are we supposed to get to the goddamn pub if we're on the wrong planet?
Are we still in like a forest though?
You are in a forest. It's a big overgrown forest. And you can see from the house directly ahead, there is a path going into the forest with the trees all interlocked sort of up above it.
Gents, I will be the first to admit when I'm out of my depth. Do not stray from this path. Let us continue down. Do whatever the crazy hand woman says. This is not a
Agreed.
hallucination. I am
Agreed.
now utterly convinced. Most likely. Probably.
We're dealing with witchcraft. That's what this is.
Oh,
Witchcraft.
hush now.
True enough.
Dan, do a botany roll for me.
54. I will burn 4 points of luck.
Okay. You do realize there's a bright sort of the bright light from this planet that's rolling by. It's like a gigantic moon in the sky. But other than that, the sky is dark, and the woods are dark, and the ground is dark. But the plants that you can see and the trees in the distance, you can't even guess what species there are. They don't seem, there's characteristics they have that don't seem to be like an oak tree or even those you can usually tell by their silhouette. But in this case, these are very strange looking things. And all of the grass and the plants and everything, they don't look like plants from Earth.
Gents, I believe we've rambled too far. All the stars are wrong. None of these plants should exist. We somehow wandered onto another planet. I've long hypothesized this was possible. God, I hope to take notes of these stars to maybe map it out again if we ever find our way home.
We didn't wander anywhere. We were taken here by that bartender.
We'll find kidnapped to another planet, but still. Oh, wait. Wander to it.
It just doesn't make sense. I don't. But
I just realized with all the points of sanity I lost, I'm going through temporary insanity. I've lost 7 already.
Okay.
Now, come on, chaps. We've been in tighter spots than this.
Let's get out of here.
Right.
Remember that time we lost our walking sticks?
I think
Right.
we're not losing walking
God
sticks. We
forbid.
lost 2 hands.
this is
Well,
a bit
not
more
off the same
dire than
person.
walking sticks.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Let's just follow the path here. Let's see where it
Charlie,
goes.
we can build a damn smart hook on top of that. It'll be just fine. Your business won't see a hitch.
I'm sure we can concoct something if we need to.
Hell, you can sell them. Get in on the market.
Let's follow the path.
So as you move forward, the forest is kind of enclosed on this. It's almost like a tunnel going through the trees. You walk along it for what seems like only maybe a few minutes. We'll say that you cover 100 yards or so, the length of a football field, and you can see up ahead that that it's opening up into a clearing, and there you think that there might be something in the clearing, people or something moving around. It's very dark.
I assume we don't have anything that we came with. Is that correct? All right.
Yes.
My sandwiches.
Nothing? We don't have our binoculars or anything?
Well,
My
if you-
sandwiches.
If you set them down while you were in the bar,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, I did.
Mm.
Can I roll luck to see if I have my cigarette case?
Sure.
Is there a
If it was on your purse and in your pockets, you
Yes.
still have it.
So I panic, reach in. Oh, thank God. Oh, God, no.
Need a light?
Oh, thank you.
I wonder what's up ahead. It's a perfect time to stop for a rest anyways.
Howard, this is no time to rest.
We've only been going a little bit, but if there is somebody up there, maybe they can help us. Maybe they know what's going on or how we can get away from this.
I'm not trusting anybody on this rock. And
But-
William's going to see if there's a big branch on the ground that he could use as either a walking stick or a weapon. Either
There
or.
are no branches, broken branches, or anything like that on the ground.
William, I would not advise touching those. At this point, you cannot know if they are even venomous. This is insanity.
So
we have
are you
nothing
going
to
to-
fear from the locals. We're all.
I think we have everything to fear of them, except the crone told us to not stay off the path. The pub would be at the end of the path. I suggest we charge straight through, make no contact, as proper British civility would recommend.
All right. So are you
just not hello?
Are you just going to walk into the thing, or are you going to see? If
I
you
think
can
so.
I
see
puff my
what's there
chest out,
before?
and yes,
Walk in.
it is. We are walking with purpose.
Hello.
I don't trust this.
You step from out of the shadows into this clearing, and you can see that there are groups of people, usually 2 of them, and what looks like children around them. They seem to be crouched down, they're chatting, they're hugging, these children. They're talking. You can hear the children giggle, the children playing, the parents watching. They all, I mean, it's dark, but do a spot hidden.
Patrick's specifically looking to, oh geez, no, I got 99. He was specifically looking to see if these were the same people from the pub, but he does not see anything.
That's what I was rolling for. So
That is,
if
yeah,
you
that's what
pass,
it
you
is.
notice that these are the same people from the
But
pub.
they're with their children. There were no children at the pub. I'll walk up to one of the people that I recognize, maybe one of the fellows that was sitting next to me.
Okay. He and a woman are there, and they're hugging this little girl, and you come up. What do you do?
I say, excuse me, my good man, I hate to interrupt, but perhaps you could tell me what's going on.
Well, he's like, but what are you? Does that mean it didn't work? Does that mean that Addison failed?
I don't know. He slipped me and my group a Mickey, and we all passed out and woke up here.
Well, I mean, we're sorry that you came into the pub really at the wrong time. We had discussed getting someone as a proxy, but it was such a rotten thing to do. But Addison insisted we go through it. It's been so long since we've seen our children, and
Now, don't blame yourself. I'm sure you made the best choice that you could make in the situation. Tell me more.
but if you're here, then it didn't work.
Now, if it had worked, where would we have supposed to have been?
Well, she would have let us all go. She would have let the children go, and maybe we could go back home. But
A new bargain was struck.
a new bargain.
Yes, Addison failed with his, but now we're going to find the crone's hands.
You
And
shouldn't
return.
bargain with she's a witch. She's evil. She's murdered we don't know how many people. I mean, you could read it in the newspaper.
I knew we should have read the paper.
I dare say I told you so, gents.
You couldn't have read it now. It was 5 years ago. We tried to stop her, and she pulled a trick on us. We took her hands, and she took our children. And we can't get here but once a year on the solstice. And
Where is here?
the devil's place.
What this is called, the Devil's Place?
This is the devil's place. This is where we banished her as a witch. And now we're all here too. We can get back, but we can't take our children with us.
Hmm.
Well, where are her hands? That's what our bargain is. If we give her her hands, we'll go free. Where are they?
You don't know what you'd be leashing on the world.
Yes, I just had that thought. We're going to have to find her hands and somehow turn her evil powers against her.
We've tried for so long, but she won't give the children up.
Who among you had the idea of banishing her to this place?
Addison. It's all Addison.
Damn. And he's just a puppet now under the witch's control.
Look, the hands. We don't want to sit here and talk to you about all of this right now. We've only got a few hours. When the sun comes up, this whole thing is going to shift again, and we won't be able to see our children forever. This is our last chance. This is the 5th year. There's only 5 fingers on a hand, you know.
Is the pub that
Well,
way?
most of them.
Down the path.
Now, have you thought about...
He looks towards the continued path going that way, and he's like, "Go away! We've only got a short time to be with our daughter." And he grabs his wife and sort of moves away from you, kind of angry and pissed and pretending to be happy for his daughter.
All right, let's
You
find
get the impression, too, that the kids don't realize that it's been 5 years. The kids are acting as if they just saw their parents a little while ago.
So the youngest of the kids, what do they like look like they're, I don't know, like could have been here for 5 years, or do some of them look like really young? Like
they look like they're between 3 and
so
7 or 8
The
years old.
time works differently.
Gotcha.
Here.
Okay. Well, I guess we
Down the path, gentlemen, down the path.
Yeah.
What else can we do?
And that is nothing
All
at
right.
all.
Do you boys remember seeing 2 hands in that pub?
No.
Just
Just
the
the
one
Saw the one.
under the glass cloche or whatever it was. That maybe there's another one in there somewhere. There has to be. I hope, anyways.
We'll tear
Well,
down the whole place if we have to find the second.
But we have to think about this, though. Do we really want to give the witch her hands?
Well, it's going to be a moot point unless we find them.
I mean, that's
It's
true.
It's either we
We-
find them or we're stuck here forever. Same with these children.
Or worse.
So you
Or dare say
leave
I
the-
ask, what if we destroyed it?
Destroyed what? The hand?
The entire bloody hand.
Oh, if
I
that
don't know. I mean,
This
in all the
spiteful
book-
old crone has trapped damn near an entire village inside here. What hope do we have of just outsmarting her, or worse, just doing exactly as she says, hoping she upholds her end of the bargain?
Did you say that? You're saying that out loud? I mean, obviously you're
Yes.
saying it out loud. You're not telepathy. Yeah.
But it's
Yes.
just us here
Um,
right now, isn't it?
Have you left the clearing?
Yeah, I think we're kind of.
I imagined we
Are
were walking away
Yeah.
from
Yeah, we're,
the
like,
father,
mid-walking
and just
through.
So if someone happened to overhear, then yes.
Well, if maybe the last person that you pass as you're heading into the tunnel of trees once again, when you say that, they say, "You don't understand anything. We can leave, but the children can't."
So what is that supposed to? How's that supposed to change our decision?
We need to. Well.
How do you leave? Is it just the sun comes up and you're back home?
The hand of glory.
What does that mean?
From the pub.
Yeah. I can't explain it. Addison knew. It's in the book.
A book.
By God, man, you mock us for not understanding, then say you can't explain. For what good reason do we have to care? It seems you all have dug your own graves and brought
Where-
your families with you.
Easy now, Dan. But my good man, whoever's saying this, where would this book be? Where is Addison's book?
They shake their head and they it's like in the pub.
Pub.
And they go back to their kids. They don't want to talk to you anymore.
Let's go back to the pub.
Yes.
Seems
Down
like everything is leading to there.
So they were talking about how this was the last time they could come back here. So it makes me think that every time they burn one of the fingers on a solstice, they can come here.
Which means they've probably tried to sacrifice 4 other poor groups.
Oh, there was the Mulberry Ramblers that went missing 2 years ago.
Ah, yes, I remember the Mulberry Ramblers. I was a good friend of theirs.
Do you?
Yes, they loved my antiques. Such a shame when they.
Right around the solstice.
That's right. And then there was the Women's Crochet Club that disappeared.
And I do wonder what happened to that damned anthropology department.
Those sticks. All of the sticks in front of the inn. Could those have been from the
Other groups that came.
other groups? Yes.
Well,
I hope our walking sticks are still there because mine was quite nice. Mother gave it to me.
Well, first we need to find these hands of glory. Then we shall see.
Yes.
Well, carry on. Let's carry on. Let's walk.
All right.
Spit spot.
You go back into the forest, and as you're going along, I'd like you all to do listen rolls.
I'll spend 3 points of luck to make that a regular.
I succeed. Chaps,
Fail.
do you hear that?
I'm grumbling to myself. I don't hear.
There is a ticking sound, not ticking sounds not a bad description. A creaking sound. It's not very loud, but it's coming from around you. You're not really surprised by the sound because trees, forests, they often creak, But at the same time that you sort of notice that, you notice that there is no wind, there is no breeze. You haven't felt air movement at all, except your own body's moving through it. When you look around you, you do notice that the trees are all sort of moving very slightly, very rhythmically, and they're creaking at the same time. But there is no breeze, no wind at all.
Dan?
My God, the trees are alive!
You don't need a certified botanist to tell you this is not normal. I suggest we keep our eyes straight ahead and walk at a quicker pace than usual. Howard, I am dearly sorry, but we do not have time for a break. I shall carry you if it is necessary.
That'd be a good trick. I didn't know you were a certified biologist or botanist.
Well, I minored in biology, yes. I got my bachelor's in botany and then carried onwards into astronomy.
Gentlemen, we can explain our professions later. Let's get out of this damn wood.
Well, now I do declare.
I actually don't have a profession.
If only I could convince you to university.
As you move forward through this tunnel of trees, you once again see up ahead a clearing opening up. And there in the center of it is the Witch Grove Inn. It's sitting there. You don't recognize anything around it. Just more trees and waving in the non-existent wind. But as you go up, it's still lit. There's still light coming from inside, and all of those walking sticks, including your own, are still on the porch.
All right.
Wonderful.
Quickly, gentlemen, inside.
Agreed.
Is there anyone inside?
There is nobody inside. As you go inside, you can still smell that pleasant cooking smell that's coming from the kitchen. The radio seems to have been turned off or doesn't have any power. The lighting in here is oil lamps. They're burning, but they're burning lower. Nobody has refreshed them. All of the things that you had with you, if you took off a sweater or whatever and put it next to your spot where you were sitting, it's all still there.
Looks like the building moved throughout time and space as well.
Is the hand on the table or the bar?
The hand is on the bar. It's on a little pedestal. The glass bell is set over to the side, and the hand is now completely closed.
Well, one
There's
down,
one hand.
one to go.
Well, we either need to find the hand or the book that
Book.
Yes, he mentioned
that
some
person
book.
mentioned. So Patrick goes immediately behind the bar and just starts looking to see what's there.
Okay.
Yeah. If
Too
there are
bad that we
any,
couldn't rig some type of explosion or something within the hand.
right now, let's find the both of them.
I agree.
Okay. Are you going to go up to this hand?
I will.
In a fit of madness, Dan has an idea to hold this hand up onto his own stump to see if the magic worked for her. Does it know which direction?
The hand
I will
effect,
also
huh?
roll sand while doing this if necessary.
No, I don't think you need to roll sand. When you pick up the hand, when you're looking at it, it looks like it could be made out of black wax. But when you touch it, it definitely has a kind of a soft, leathery feel to it. It feels old and leathery, but it's got some mobility to it. You also notice there is a large ring on the ring finger. Looks like it's made out of gold with some sort of jewel, maybe an emerald that's there. It's a very crude piece of jewelry, not like something you'd expect from, a fancy shop, more like something you would expect in the tomb of King Tutankhamun or something like that, crudely made. But it is on the hand. It does not attach itself to your hand.
Let's cut the ring off.
No, don't damage the hand until we know what we need to do.
I dare say, let Patrick find the book. Perhaps this has some significance and we can work our ways out of this mess.
Yes, if we damage the hands, we might incur the wrath of the witch once more.
But we know we can't give the hands back to the witch. That's just, playing into her hand.
I'd
Pardon
rather
me.
not make her mad before
Her
we're ready
other
to
one,
pull
rather.
the ace out of our hole.
Yeah, I agree. This is as weird as it sounds. I agree with all this, but we can't. I don't think we should just destroy it until we know what we're dealing with. We need to find, this other stuff. And Patrick is saying this as he's like looking behind the bar for, anything that looks like a book or a hand. Or
Is there
The only thing that you find behind the bar is bar stuff.
okay.
Charlie is going.
In that bar stuff, do we find a fresh bottle of Johnny Walker?
Sure.
Yes,
Or some other whiskey.
I see Patrick is pulling out all of these whiskeys and scotches from behind the bar, and I just lean over, grab one, and with one hand pour a very sloppy row of glasses. And, gents, maybe our last.
Connie, you
In
were
a
going to ask
moment.
something?
Yes, I was going to ask if there was an upstairs to the inn.
There is an upstairs.
Right, well, I'm going to check upstairs. Perhaps Anderson kept the other hand or his book in his room.
Charlie is going to look on the shelves where the hand came from.
Okay. There are knickknacks and bar stuff. That's all that's there. William, are you gonna go up by yourself?
Unless anyone would like to join me, then yes.
I'm looking for some kind of clippers or electrical dikes or something, because I think it's a fantastic idea to cut that ring off.
Patrick will go up with William. He
Well, I
doesn't
feel-
want to watch what Howard's doing.
Well, Patrick, if you feel that your search is fruitless down here, sure. I just needed to finish this drink and happy to help where I needed.
It's fine. It's only the one room on the first floor.
Is there a kitchen?
There's a kitchen.
Patrick,
Oh,
there's a
okay.
kitchen. You should look in the kitchen.
All right, I'll check upstairs. Patrick, you check the kitchen.
All
Howard,
right.
please, for the love of God, do not chop off the ring. I beg you as a friend and colleague, do not chop off the ring.
Howard, are you looking at it, or
Well, who has does Dan still have that?
Dan still has it? Yeah.
I want to make an appraise roll on the ring
Okay.
to see if I can discern any more information from it. And you know what? Since I rarely ever use appraise, I'll burn 8 points of luck to make that a success.
Okay. Well, to give you like I say, it looks like something very old and crude. If it is Roman or Egyptian or something like that, it might be worth a fortune. But aesthetically, as you're looking at it, it might make a good museum piece. You don't think anybody would pay any great amount of money for it, except maybe the emerald might be, worth something. It's a big emerald.
All right, but it's not. So it's not a museum piece. Oh, Dan, are you standing right there with me?
Only
You've
if
got-
it's an antique.
Only if you can allege some historical significance. They did mention some
I
event
think this-
5 years
no,
ago.
I think this is some sort of an evil talisman or something, or perhaps this is the gewgaw she uses to cast her incantations.
Oh, wow.
Perhaps. I'm inclined to follow Patrick's lead and determine if this is exactly trying to learn what we're dealing with. I will go with William upstairs and to see if we can locate this book.
So
Well,
Will
if
and Dan are
that's-
going upstairs.
If that's the case, Dan, bring my glass of whiskey. I need it.
Charlie,
No, Howard.
Apologies. You're the one with two hands, son. I can only carry my own.
Fair enough.
Howard, you might be onto something because she's already got two perfectly good hands, but she wanted her hands back. What's different about hers? She's got that ring.
Correct.
You did promise the hands and not the rings.
And there's just something mischievous about cutting the fingers off that I like.
There's mischievous about this whole damn thing. My God.
Gentlemen, please, we're tampering with forces we do not understand. I highly suggest we don't make them any madder.
They're already plenty mad.
Exactly, which is why we should not damage the hand.
This has been
So,
too tiring.
if Dan's going upstairs, does Dan still have a hand?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
It's in my coat pocket.
So Dan and William are heading up the stairs, and Howard, Charlie, and Patrick, you're searching around. You're going to go in the kitchen, you said?
Sure.
Yes.
It doesn't take you more than a couple of minutes to realize that there is a trap door on the floor in the kitchen. It's large. It's not hidden. You're thinking like root cellar or basement.
Down there.
When you open it, you can see that there is a ladder going down. It doesn't go down very far. It definitely, it's a basement. It's obviously, it's got a stonework that defines it. And you can see that there is light coming from down there as well.
Like,
William and
Really?
Dan, you go up the stairs and you see that there are a couple of rooms with the doors open, which look like they're made up in case somebody needs to stay at the inn. And then the farthest one down at the very end seems to be closed and locked, which is probably Addison's.
All
room.
right. Well, Dan, care to help me break down a door?
I don't think we need to worry about lockpicking or subtlety at this point.
Excellent.
I'm not even going to make you roll for it because it's not that, hard to
Sure.
do.
Both of us lean in, bam.
Yeah.
All right, you step into the room. It's not exactly well kept, It looks like the kind of a room that might have at one point in the past been quite nice, not rich, but comfortable. And it's now been occupied by somebody who looks like they've been losing their mind. The bed's unmade, there's unwashed clothing on the floor, there's all sorts of things. There looks like there is a large, you think it's a book on a desk in there. It's actually one of those surprisingly weird, odd looking large books. Not very thick, but about like that. Leather bound.
Raising
that-
my voice, I will say, Patrick!
Yes.
He's all
I
the way
assume I can.
downstairs and
Yeah, I'm hoping that the place is small enough that at least he can hear
not so
me.
fast.
If I can hear them,
you can hear him off in the distance. Yeah.
I'll say, all right, please be careful if you go down there. And Patrick will start heading up to the where Dan and William are.
Howard and Charlie, you climb down the ladder, and down below, there is all sorts of things stored for the bar. But you can see towards the back of the basement, there is an area that's been cleared. There seem to be a number of oil lamps that are burning there. They're getting kind of low. But there is a large book, seems a bit tattered and old, on the table, and there is another one of those glass bells with another hand inside of it. This one's going like this.
Eureka!
Is there a ring on that finger?
There is
on that
there
hand?
is there is not a ring in that hand. All right, so now we're going to jump back to the other ones. William and Dan. Patrick comes up and joins you.
Yes. What? I heard you calling me.
I do believe this is what you're looking for. And gestures over to the overlarge book. Unless this is a family photo album, in which case I am horribly embarrassed.
Patrick will go over and look at it. Have you looked at this yet? What is it?
I have not. I felt it was best if you were to judge it based on its exterior for authenticity. I hesitate to touch anything.
Here.
Patrick, you flip open the book, and it is worse than a family photograph book. The whole front end of the book is exactly that. It's pictures of, looks like Addison much younger, with a woman, maybe his wife, a few other things like that. But then the whole substance of the book changes. It suddenly becomes newspaper clippings. And most of the newspaper clippings cover a period of maybe 4 or 5 years. But the latest one is 5 years ago. So there's been nothing put into this for 5 years. They're all kind of similar. Here is an example for you to see.
Rambler found dead on moors. Miss Riley's body found in the woods, missing since December 10th, deceased said to have suffered from insomnia. The mystery surrounding the disappearance of Miss Sophia Riley, 22 years of age, of Elm Grove, Thornhill Lees, Dewsbury, was solved this morning by the discovery of the body on the edge of the edge of woods on Rutland Moor. Miss Riley left her home about 6 o'clock on Thursday morning to meet her friends and go rambling, and she was last seen alive near Wych Elm Pub. She was then in good spirits and told an acquaintance that she would not keep her talking longer than was necessary, as she was anxious to return in time for work. What became of her after that had been a mystery up to this morning. A diligent search was made by the West Riding Police and the fullest inquiries amongst relatives and friends, but these failed to reveal her whereabouts. Miss Riley's body was first seen this morning by a rambler, John Martin. The body was conveyed to the Victoria Hotel, where an inquest will be held probably tomorrow. There was nothing found in the deceased pockets likely to throw any light on the tragedy. Although the deceased enjoyed fairly good health, she had complained that she could not sleep, and on one occasion some 12 months ago is said to have risen in the middle of the night and was found wandering in the village by a policeman. She was a good worker and was fond of her parents and her home.
I realized that there is a slight mistake in there. It should have been the Witch Grove and not the Wych Elm.
Okay.
All of the other articles are very similar. It would seem that people, within 20 miles of this area, suffered varying bouts of insomnia, that they would often go wandering in the middle of the night, and that people were going missing all throughout this area, with the center seeming to be this Wych Grove, which is what the area apparently is. So
I'm not
Addison
up
was
there,
keeping
right?
track
This is
of
happening
people.
on the second floor.
That's correct.
Well, gentlemen, I mean, I think these are the newspaper clippings that that one person had told us about. There have been disappearances here for years.
Yes.
I guess we can assume that it was the witch who was doing it, or maybe some other supernatural effect, unless it was in fact the. Well, no, it wouldn't have been the barkeep, because the latest one is dated 5 years ago, and they said that they had 5 years, so it's been happening since then.
Or it stopped 5 years
Right,
ago.
you're right. Yes.
Right.
Tell me, in these articles, it's do the victims have children?
No, not necessarily. That girl, the last one she was young. It seems that people were going missing, mostly ramblers, people who walked out into the woods out here.
But it does seem to be one at a time. So what happened sometime between individuals suffering from bouts of insomnia wandering into a magical Venus flytrap to some unruly bartender condemning the children of an entire town and then relying on sacrifices to try and set this right?
Is there anything else in there other than the pictures and the newspaper clippings?
You maybe shake there. It seems to be that there are a couple of loose pages in there. It looks like they're maybe like drawing paper or something that fall out. There's 2 of them, and they look like this.
Look at these.
What in God's name is that?
Don't know. It says, she speaks of her young, 5 long years. Our young in exchange for hers. We had no choice.
The second page looks like that.
They stand dormant in the dark woods. At least the woods are safe again. The woods, you don't think her young are the woods, the trees that we saw moving? Sorry, that was ridiculous to even bring up.
I would say that those were no trees that I could ever see. Those drawings did look, well, of a sense, botanical. I wouldn't place it out of the ordinary. I did get a very hostile sensation from them.
At this point, I'd believe that man would walk on the moon with nothing but the clothes on their backs.
That's preposterous. No one will ever walk on the moon.
I dare say, William, get it together, man.
We're on another world.
Yes, but not the moon. That's uninhabitable.
What does
So
that
Howard and Charlie are downstairs.
mean? With another book.
As you come up this time, the book it seems to be ancient, maybe, 1500s, maybe earlier than that. You open it up.
Grimoire.
You open it up, and it is all written in, Chaucer's English. So it's difficult to understand what it is saying. The book itself was actually open to a page, and the page says, this is all written in like Elizabethan style. So it's banishment and return. And I'm not even going to explain. It does not spell like banishment and return. It's got a lot of extra letters in there.
A lot of wicks and
it says, knowledge bode therein to send her back to the devil's realm. And there are a number of instructions involved and explaining how to do this and so forth. The banishment of the witch required that her hands be cut from her body, and that it would it would open up a way to open up a gate and basically shove her and the whole area where she lives into the devil's realm. But then there's also another thing talking about I'm sorry,
Who's with me?
Charlie.
Charlie. But then there's also part of it that details how to travel back and forth between Earth and the Devil's Realm. And that seems to involve some sort of object. It says that the hand is part of the ritual, that the hand represents an object, that it's from, it's an object that's from both the Earth world and from the Devil's Realm. And it helps the magic guide itself to the correct destination. It can be used once for each finger on the two hands. So you've got
these instructions for the banishment. Does it seem like Addison was trying to do this banishment ritual at all?
It seems like obviously he cut off her hands. So
Yes, my guess is that he did it and it failed, or that he missed some point, or let's go upstairs and share this with our colleagues.
Yeah, I'll grab the book if you're gonna grab the hand.
Okay.
Sure.
Actually,
I'll take the
grab
hand.
both. I'm gonna have to grab onto the rungs of this ladder. You're gonna need to grab both.
yeah.
All right. It's not, yes, absolutely, my good man.
So let's say
Happy
that
to
you
assist.
all end up meeting back on the first floor of the pub.
Now, do you think
Simultaneously
that-
saying, I have something amazing to show you.
Okay, and we share info.
Yeah.
What does it mean, the thing about the young? She traded her young, or they traded their young? How did that go again?
Our young for hers, I believe, is how it went.
Does that mean the witch has children?
That's what it sounds like.
And
And
from the
I
drawings, they
do
look
believe those trees count among them. If you can call them trees. Blasphemy.
The trees that we walked through.
The ones
Yes.
that moved with no wind? Yes, I dare say that would be an animalian response if I had ever heard of one.
mean, it's possible that her children are trapped in the trees as well. I mean, at this point, I'm not going to rule anything out, but the trees have something to do with it. I don't know if the villagers or whoever, if they traded their young for hers, or it was just a side effect of what happened. What is the spell or the book that you have, the ritual? What does that say about banishing her?
Do any of you have like scholarly English?
No.
nope.
I
have a
study at
cult.
university, but it's just regular English. Do you want me to make like a hard English check?
Sure.
Let's say I have a 70 in English, but I don't know
Well,
if that
maybe,
would-
yeah, maybe you've studied English. You can try too.
Okay. That's a hard success.
That's a hard no.
Okay. So, Patrick, as you're trying to work your way through this very archaic English, it's basically telling you that there needs, you're talking about the traveling. Okay. That you need to have an object that has been in both places, an object that is powerful. So, putting two and two together, you can guess maybe the ring or maybe the hand themselves. You're not sure. It guides the magic to bring you from one place to the other. It seems that what's most likely is that that Addison and his followers were trying to banish the witch because she was killing ramblers. But they failed, not in the ritual itself, but they failed to account for the fact that once they had started to do this, she somehow managed to grab their children and bring their children with her. So the children are stuck there with her now, and she won't let them go unless she gets her hands back.
So if she goes free, she'll let the children go.
Let's cut the fingers off the hands in front of her. I'm just stuck on clipping these fingers.
I don't
Has
know
Howard
if
gotten a
anyone
hold
can
of
do it,
the
Howard.
hands, either hand?
I think Howard has the one hand.
Howard's got a hand with the finger up.
He has that. Yes,
Okay.
he has hand number 2.
Well, you also know that when you've touched it, you can feel that there is still a softness. It's like you're holding a mummy's hand.
Mhm.
And it's not quite dried out, so it's still flexible. You realize that you can move the fingers, but they snap right back into place.
But I'll do it first just to see if there's anything hidden in the palm.
Nothing.
So it's not mummified, it's withered. It's definitely the witch's hand.
No, it just feels like Mrs. Havisham's hands more than anything. Charles Dickens, nobody. Cool.
Oh,
I'll be here all week.
I think somebody brought that up in another game.
Patrick is immediately thinking of the monkey's paw.
Yeah.
All right, lads. We've got the hands. We could walk back down the path, return the hands, and call it a day. Maybe we'd get our hands back. I suspect the witch will then wreak her havoc on the villagers. So I don't think we want to give her her hands. I think what we want to do is to trap her into some other kind of binding or dismember her.
Howard,
Wait
do an idea roll.
Oh, that is a success.
That's a hard success.
From antiquity, from other ideas of other witches and things like that, she did seem to emphasize bargain. That
So
It
we
was-
make her a bargain for
it
her
was
hands or the ring.
binded. Yeah, it was a binding that she
Yes.
seemed to think was very
She
important.
didn't mention the ring.
Exactly. She
Let's
only
keep
wanted
the
her
ring.
hands.
If we bargain for her hands, perhaps we can make a bargain in which we trap her here and free everyone else.
Didn't
As
we?
long
Didn't
as-
you already bargain for her hands?
You did.
so we already did have a bargain.
But,
We'll have a bargain for the
change.
hands, not for the ring.
correct, Dan. Let's get that ring off of there by any means possible, including clipping.
What is it
Before
with you
you-
and clipping? Do you have just a big excitement given the double
very excited about
amputation
cutting the
witnessed
fingers
earlier?
off.
All right,
It
well,
worries me
let's
that you
see
have
her-
this obsession.
No.
If we-
Let's return the hands in pieces.
No,
Let her
if we-
cast an incantation with all the fingers detached.
Then she'll just cut
Yeah.
off someone else's hands and do magic.
But she has to stick to the binding.
All right, before you start cutting this hand to pieces, let's see if we can just get the ring off.
Yes, I believe there should be a bartender's spoon or
Where
perhaps
was
a
that
There
spatula
has to
that
be-
we could.
Grease
It's
or
not
something
necessary.
in the kitchen.
It's not necessary. The hand with the ring on it just can do that and pull the ring off.
William, are you suggesting we cut the fingers off with the spoon?
No, I'm saying we use the spoon to level. Oh, never mind.
That would be a feat. I'd be interested in seeing that.
Well, we don't have to worry about it. The ring's
No, it's a
off
hand.
now.
The foot's on the other appendage.
I'm so glad you all can keep in such good spirits during these dire times.
Ah, the whiskey helps.
All right. What? The queen's still on her throne. Everything will be fine.
So we
All
got
right,
the
William has it, correct?
Yes, William took off the ring.
So I guess I'm unsure then what our plan is. Are we going to go back, give her her hands, and then make her a deal for the ring to release everybody? I mean,
Yes, I believe that's how it'll
I
go.
do say this sounds like something we should premeditate well beforehand. I don't think Howard is necessarily in the wrong. In talking with these deals from the devil, we did make a bargain to return her hands. We did not make any such statements of the state, condition, or timeliness for doing so. Presumably, this ring also holds some sort of import. So if we return some semblance of her hands and neglect the ring.
Do an intelligence roll.
Okay.
Everybody, or
No. Oh, can you use luck on intelligence rolls?
Sure.
I'm going to do that because Lex is dumb. I'm going to burn 10 points of luck.
Okay. So as you're speaking, you suddenly recall something that's been said a couple of times. This all ends at sunrise. That's the last point at which the magic's going to work. So
as
what
long as we
time
have
is
the
it
ring
now?
on us at sunrise, we're fine. I dare say, blast these other folks.
Well,
if the magic stops working after sunrise, perhaps if we return the hands then, she'll have no power over us.
Patrick opens the front door to look at the sky. Is it still dark or is it starting to lighten up?
there is a redness along the horizon.
We don't have much time. It is almost sunrise. So we need to start heading back regardless.
Are we going to be booted back to our world at sunrise?
Not
Presumably,
unless,
if we
don't
have the
think
ring
so.
on us.
well, maybe.
An
but
object that has been in both worlds can focus between the two.
we don't
I
know how
think,
to
Dan,
focus that.
if with your intelligence roll, I mean, it was implied that once sunrise arrives, there's nothing that can be done. You'll all be stuck here with her forever.
Gentlemen,
The kids will be stuck here. Everybody will be stuck
I-
here.
I have a plan. It is a little outside of the box, but I do believe it will work. But you must trust me on this.
All right, well, let's talk about it on the way back. Because we need to
Very
start
good.
moving now.
And we are going to have to take a few breaks because I do get tired.
We have no time for breaks, Howard.
Dan will carry you.
For God's
I'll
sake,
carry
Howard,
you.
take 2 walking sticks.
No, I don't. I wonder if there is something about these walking sticks. I'm definitely taking mine, but
All right. Well, Howard, I must say we will have to possibly sprint the last bit of the way.
now you are having a fiction.
Just think of it like a very quick moving queue. It's fine.
It's
Yes,
about
precisely.
500 feet back to the witch's house.
That's a considerable distance to a 40-something Englishman in the 1920s.
Well, let's hurry on as quick as we can.
So
Okay, we're walking. I want to hear this plan, William. William, devastate me with this plan.
Well, what I have in mind is we can make a new bargain. I was thinking I could stay here. The new bargain will be I return the hands and stay here with her if she lets everyone else go.
Why would you do that, William? Are you
Because you
are
are
you in
with me on
arrears?
my-
Are you in
No.
trouble back home?
No.
I
you
dare
are
say
my-
there's better ways to escape your creditors' debts. However,
It is not
uh,
about creditors' debts.
I also worry, again, in all of these, I assume Dante's Inferno has been written at this time, but in these deals with the devil, if we say everyone else can go home, that presumably will include her children and these horrid trees around us that I only hope stay rooted in the ground.
Well, then the villagers.
Anyone who is still human?
Yes. Well, that could also count the witch.
No. The villagers and their children.
The villagers, their children, and you.
I think the
What?
children, I haven't wanted to say, but maybe seated with her children. Why else would she want them? Our children for her children?
Well, children by themselves are quite lovely.
Simply for revenge.
Yes. She,
What
if
were
the
those-
villagers took away her children, then she was going to take away theirs.
An eye for an
Wait,
eye.
the villagers took away her children?
That's what the book said.
Yeah, they banished her young or something like that. I think that she mentioned
We're
something.
walking through the woods on the way back to the Widget's house as we're having this conversation.
Okay. Patrick, there was something else that you read in the book that you didn't quite understand because of the weird language, the archaic English. But as you're putting it together in your mind, you think that there are consequences for casting the spell that takes you all back home. And it might explain something. Addison was mindless, blithering idiot at this point. The people that you saw in the clearing were not altogether rational. You think that the spell itself implies that you're going to have to sacrifice some of your own willpower in order to accomplish the transition.
Well, William has so graciously offered up all of himself, so if we divvy a quarter of a William amongst each of our own, I believe that leaves us each with a half a Howard in remainder.
Yes, of course. You're all my dearest friends in this whole world. If it means I have to be stuck in this, well, not exactly
don't think
wretched hellscape, but definitely not that pleasant,
I'll
then of course.
Pat, do another intelligence roll, Patrick.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to put it in Call of Cthulhu words so that you guys will understand that there is a price to pay. Okay. In order to create this transfer, it's going to cost each of you 18 magic points. And if you don't have magic points, then it's going to use hit points to fill in the remainder. And you have to sacrifice 90 POW, which you can do collectively. You'd all have to sacrifice some of your willpower points, which will make you dumber and more gullible.
So gentlemen, what I think what it says is we all have to give a piece of ourselves. We can't our mental and physical well-being to do this. It cannot just come from one person. It has to.
I bloody well did.
Wait. Does this mean that we can cast the spell and open a gate between here and our home world?
Potentially. I don't know.
Then why don't we just do that? Why don't we get all the villagers? So the villagers come along with us.
And their children.
And all the children, the whole kit and caboodle. We chop up her hands and put them in a bag. We say, here is your bag. Here's your hands in a bag. You two get your hands back. We say, we will give you the bag. Give us their hands. You get your hands back. We give her the bag of hands that are all cut up into pieces. She loses her minds and then tries to put their hands back together. We cast the spell. And then, like our American friends, Scooby-Doo and the gang, we all run through the gate.
Are there instructions in the book to cast this
Yes.
spell? Or okay.
Obviously,
I will say
Addison
it's
has
not a
done
bad
it. Addison has done it 9 times. Obviously, it is reduced him to a gibbering idiot, along with most of the others for all that POW that he's lost.
We would still be within the terms of our arrangement if we gave her hands in an altered state.
And we keep the ring. We just keep it, never mention it. That way, that we can use that as something that belongs in both worlds or something. I don't know about all this mumble jumble, but please, can we please cut the fingers off?
I don't think we have any suitable implements to do that, Howard, I'm afraid.
I've got a pocket knife.
I was
Howard,
like all good Englishmen, we've got switchblades.
Howard, how old are you? Just roughly.
And I'm
You weren't.
looking for my switchblade.
You weren't you didn't happen to be in Whitechapel about 40 years ago, right? Never mind. I don't know. I
Neither do
am
I.
willing
That
to go
sounds
with
as good a
with
plan
what
as
you,
any.
yes, I'm willing to go with whatever you all decide is best, because honestly, I don't know the right thing to do here. It all sounds equally baffling, outrageous, and logical at the same time to me. So,
Well, if this witch can reconstitute her hands if we cut them up, at least it will take her time to do that and allow us a couple of moments to get out of here.
Hopefully.
All right, I have a penknife. Who else has a penknife?
I've got a knife.
Okay, Charlie and I will dismember the fingers.
All right, Howard, for the love, do it quietly, please.
Patrick will hold on to the ring. I have to say, I have quite a bit of magic points.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say I do not.
Oh, I have many.
so all right. So the plan is you're going to dismember the hands,
Put them in a bag.
put them in a bag, and
Hmm.
then
Do you have a
what?
bag?
I do have a satchel.
We have socks. Let's put them in
I
one of our
empty
socks.
out my picnic sack of sandwiches. Just say, here.
Yeah,
I dare say no one is craving roast beef at this moment.
And we use our socks, a sock full of severed hands.
A sock full of severed
I-
fingers. That's a good
I got
band
a
name.
satchel. I got a satchel.
All right.
All right.
All right,
So you're going to dismember the hands or chop them into pieces.
Seems that way.
With great glee, Howard does this. The rest of you could do sanity rolls.
Howard, why in the world
Gladly.
did I become friends with you?
William,
That's
you
fair.
don't
You're
happen to
in
still have those finger sandwiches, do you?
Not anymore.
Howard,
No.
Howard, I guess Howard can also do a sanity roll. Howard, when you cut through, it's like cutting a piece of wood. I mean,
It doesn't faze me. I rolled an
so
02.
soft.
And I rolled
Howard's
72.
glee of amputating fingers is overriding any sense of moral dilemma.
All right. So you've been walking. You walk back into the clearing where the families all are, and they're in the process of crying and hugging their children and glancing up at the reddening sky, knowing that they're never going to see their children again.
All right, lads, we have to convince them of our plan.
I think they'll go along with it.
Yes, I don't think there's time. I think we just do it.
Yes,
But we have to
Howard, Charlie, Patrick, begin forming a queue. Like
Yes.
any good Englishman, they will fall in suit and then go right through the portal.
Women and children first.
But don't we
see-
need to somehow convince them to do it?
You're
Well,
going
that's
to
what I mean by
explain?
forming a queue. What Englishman would refuse?
So let's say the
I also-
first one that you come to. What do you say to them?
We have a plan, my good man, to save you and all the children.
How?
Going to open a
We-
gate.
We found the witch's hands. We're going to perform a spell, open a gate back to Earth, and then all of you can go home.
We've gone back and forth over the last 5 years.
Yes, but now you'll
Yes,
take
but
your
now
children.
you'll bring your children.
We can't take the children out of this grove.
Why not?
We can't. They can't leave the grove.
You know, we do have a bargaining chip in that ring if it's so important to her.
We have to find out from the witch why the children can't leave. So let's
Because
engage her
she's
discussion.
got a spell. They can't leave the grove.
We're
The
saying we're going
trees
to cast...
trees will stop us.
What if we make the gate in the middle of the grove?
That's a fair point. We make the gate in the middle of the grove. That way the trees won't be able to come inside, and you can get out.
I don't think it'll work, they say.
Well, if there's a gate in the middle of this grove, I guarantee you're going to try to get your kids through it.
I believe they're implying that the children cannot pass through the gate, even
Yeah.
if we were to make it. This
Right.
feels like a numbers problem. I never excelled in these. I always preferred written essays. In which case, gentlemen, group huddle.
Quickly though.
Fuck
Don't make
these
this quick, Dan.
guys.
We're burning sunlight.
Let us just make the portal and leave the bag of soccer fingers and go back home. They bloody well kidnapped us to leave us as human sacrifices. Charlie and I both lost our hands from it. I dare say that we've had enough.
But the
Well, let's go-
children don't deserve this fate. They've done nothing.
And that is their own damn fault. This
Let
is
us
not, we walked into this. This is not our responsibility.
Well, let us at least try to bargain with her. We have to live up, regardless, before the sun comes up, we need to live up to our end of the bargain or we are not leaving, and Charlie and you are not getting your hands back. So
I don't even
let's go
care
and
about
do
my
that.
hand. I care about my life. I fear if we argue with her
Exactly.
again, we'll find ourselves damned entirely.
We have to, well, we have to give her the hands back in order for us to leave.
I
That was
still
the
believe-
bargain that we made.
I still believe my plan will work. If we make another bargain, I stay here, everyone else goes home. I believe that will work.
Well, let's
If the
William,
Go
William,
and-
we don't want you to stay here. We like your company. We want you to come back.
I much enjoy your company too, but if
We
if
have
a
not
sacrifice
discussed murder.
I don't
What
think
if
we're
we-
going to be able to kill the witch.
What is there something in the book or in the notes or some little addendum somewhere?
All there was
Give us a clue
banishment.
as to how-
Banishment is all they could do, and they banished her to here. But she's already here. I don't think we can banish her anywhere else.
I think
Well,
we just need to
let's
go
talk about
and
ring is so
We just
important.
need to go and confront the witch. We need to make another bargain.
I agree. We need to at least try. And if it fails, then hopefully she lives up to her end of the bargain and we can go home, even if we don't take them, but we're not going to do it. Nothing's going to happen until we go in there.
I agree.
I feel like we're changing our plan now.
I don't
You
think we
got to
had
cut up
much
the
of a
hands.
plan to
You
begin-
should be happy.
You cut up the hands. You got your end of the deal. Now,
I am quite happy. That pleases me.
all right.
I am
So
quite
how?
pleased
Here's
that we
me.
dismembered the hands.
Well, since you're so pleased, Howard, how about we go to the witch's hut? We make up a new bargain, and at the very best, everyone goes home. At the very worst, only we do. I say it's a win-win either way.
Let's give her. We've got
A
to
hand?
trick her. We have to.
Oh,
we have to trick
I
her.
apologize.
We have the bags, and we'll finish the thing for the bags for the hands. As soon as we give her hands, and they're all fucked up, she's going to get pissed. Which personally I would like to see, but we've got to try to figure out how to unravel this children thing, and we're probably only going to do that through conversation. So we're going to have to talk to her first before we close the deal with the hands. We're going to have to talk to her and see if we can somehow free the children. And we
Yes.
can use the ring as an enticement somehow.
Yes.
I think one of us offering to stay instead of the children,
I
don't
have
think-
multiple times.
but I don't think there's a lot of currency in that. And William, we don't want you to return with us.
We've got the ring as the bargaining chip. As you all said, we need to at least try that. And then
Yes.
if not, then let's.
If more incentive is needed, then more incentive is needed.
All right.
Who's going to do the talking to the witch?
If you don't mind my butting in, I think I should do the talking.
Dan is quite an intimidator, as I recall.
I shall stand and loom in the background. However, after all this whiskey, I doubt my ability to spar with a supernatural evil deity.
And Charlie, you've been quite quiet. What are your thoughts, my good man?
Well, I'd prefer to use the ring as a bargaining chip first.
Well,
We're
yes,
just
I
riding on the
agree.
assumption that it's important to her. But it was specifically left out of the bargain, so we remain with it. And if it is important to her, I think that solves our problem. If the ring is some sort of a conduit or something that she channels her power through, she's gonna want it.
Bear this in mind, gentlemen.
Right.
For the spell to work, we need something of both worlds. And I think what we need is that one pointy finger
Mm.
that has not yet been lit.
Yes.
So we better remove that from the sock of fingers.
But
Well,
hasn't
you
the
have to
ring
dig
also
through the
been
bag and
both-
find the proper one.
Yes, they all look
Yeah.
the same.
No, this one's
No,
You
extended.
damned us all, Howard.
There's no extended anymore. You cut it off.
Yeah, they're all cut off.
Right, but
They're all extended.
But one of them is straight and the others are curled. Aren't the others all curled up like chicken feet?
I don't know how many knuckles
Some
did you
curve to
cut?
the left. It's so difficult to tell.
No, I just clipped them at the knuckle. I didn't even clip them. I didn't have clippers. I had to saw through them with a dull
Oh
pen
my
knife.
gosh.
Right, let's get to the witch's hut. We'll make a bargain, and we hope
Time
the
is
ring is
ticking.
enough. Yes, time is
Yes,
ticking.
let's go.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Okay, can we find
So-
the one extended finger?
Do a luck roll.
But that was also part of the deal. That's part of her hand.
My luck is 58 and my roll is 26.
Okay. Yeah, you can find it.
Okay, I put it in my breast pocket.
Not gonna end well.
All right.
All right. So
Let's
you go,
go.
you come out of the you come out of the woods into the clearing. The movement of the trees seems to have increased. They writhe side to side and wiggle in the growing red light. But there's her cabin or her hut, if you call it that. What do you do?
All right.
One quick last thing. Who's casting this spell with me?
I shall help you cast the spell. I nominate Patrick to be the head negotiator.
Agreed.
Okay. Well, as long as William and Charlie, what are you going to do then?
I will negotiate with you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that we all have to give something up for this spell, anyways. So
Well, I'm a big
All
man and there's a lot of me to give.
So
I
you
feel
go up-
quite magical.
Charlie, I'd
You-
say you stay out here with them just in case those trees try anything funny.
with the villagers,
No, with Howard and Dan.
You've
sure.
left the villagers back behind you.
Wait, Charlie's got to go inside to get his handbag.
And
that-
So
So
does
does
Dan.
Dan. So does Dan then.
that is
I'm
important.
fine. As long as I go home, I only need the one to write.
All right, then how about myself, Charlie, and Dan go inside. Howard and Patrick, you begin the spell.
I have the ring. Who wants it then?
I have the finger.
I will take the ring, and then Charlie and Dan, once you receive your hands, you can come out and help them with the spell. I will finish up negotiations.
My hand be damned. I am in no state to argue with the witch. I shall stay out here with Howard. Believe me, I
I
have
hate
confidence
to
that we can make this spell work.
Charlie,
hate
do you
to be
want your hand
difficult.
back?
I really want to see the witch's face when we give her the chopped up hands.
Oh my gosh. Then let's just all go in and then we
All
can
right.
leave if we need to.
He's not
We
going
all
to
go
You're all going to go in.
Yeah.
he's not going to be happy missing a finger.
So you step up onto the porch.
Yeah.
The door just swings open automatically, and or rather magically. We step inside. She's there. She's like, "Well, you've returned, have you?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Do you have me hands?"
Oh, yes.
They are not in a very good state.
She says, "Put them there on the table."
Thunk.
Funk.
All right. Now,
You
Return our
put
friend's
them on the
hands.
table.
We put the bag on the table.
You put the bags on the table. She reaches down and she grabs the hand on her hand, which is Dan's, and she rips it right off of her body and puts it down on the table, and it starts to skitter towards. Towards. Did I see Dan? It starts to skitter over towards Dan. You put your wrist down there. The same thing happens. It turns itself around, and you can feel an itching and a burning as you can literally see things coming out of your hand like sinews and reattaching muscles and things like that as the hand begins to reattach. At the same time, you see one of the bags start to squirm around on the table, and crawling out of it is the witch's hand, which has put itself back together.
Damn it.
Okay.
Wasn't gonna work.
And it skitters across to her hand. It leaps into the air and it reattaches itself to her hand. And then she does the same with the other one. She tears it off and it starts to move towards Charlie as her hand reforms itself, missing a finger, and starts heading towards her and leaps up and lands on her hand. And she says, "Where's my finger?"
That is the last part of our bargain, madam.
Howard, it starts to wiggle in your shirt.
Now, if you take a look on your other hand,
Where
I think-
is my finger?
if you take a look on your left hand, madam, I do believe you'll find something missing.
Where is my ring?
Wasn't part of the bargain.
I do believe if you pull my finger, you might find out.
She's like, the bargain was for me, hands back. You haven't finished the
And-
bargain. until
Technically,
you give
fingers
me
are
the
not part of
finger.
your hands, but
We
still.
would like to make a new bargain, madam.
Oh, you want to change the bargain, do you? Give
Indeed.
me my finger. You start to hear a noise outside, like a crashing noise.
We
She
shall-
also starts, you see her begin to move and shift. And as she does, you realize that the sound that her feet are making don't sound right. They sound almost like clubs hitting the ground. And you begin to notice the mound of clothing that she's been wearing is sort of wiggling and writhing underneath her clothing.
Egads.
What up?
We shall return the ring and the finger if you release the villagers, the children, and my friends. If your
We need
finger-
the ring or the finger to use the spell.
If your ring and finger are not enough, I will stay myself as an extra bargaining chip.
I hit her with my walking stick.
Do you?
Yeah, why not? At this point, we're screwed. I think I would whack her with my stick. My walking
All right.
stick.
Go ahead and try brawl roll.
Jeez.
No, I way missed.
Okay,
We
you
had a-
swoosh,
I
you
have
swoosh at her,
one.
and she doesn't flinch. Do a luck roll for me.
Howard, what are you doing?
Stop, Howard.
No.
You're ruining our chances.
No luck. The finger flips out of your pocket, lands on the table, and slides very quickly over to her hand and reforms itself on her. She says,
Damn you, Howard.
"Now my ring.
Damn
Give-
me.
Yes,
Give me
damn
back
you.
my ring."
Your ring was not part of the bargain. If you wish it back, you will need to strike a second.
A second bargain for the lives of those fools in the glade and their children.
And ourselves, madam.
I have no need of any of you.
All right.
Give
then
me back my ring and you can all go.
The children and the villagers as well.
All of you. I have no need of any of you.
We'll make the trade in the Glen.
You'll make the trade now before the sun rises, or you'll all be
We'll do
here
it in
with
the
me
Glen.
forever.
We'll do it in the Glen, and we'll do it right now. That is the bargain.
You
And if
keep
you
changing the bargain. I have no reason to believe that you're going to keep any bargain since you keep changing it.
All right. I will not change my bargain, madam. I swear it
The
upon
ring.
my word.
Give me the ring now.
Need the ring for the spell.
If the children and the villagers go free, as well as us, if we just give her the ring, I say we give her the ring.
She
When?
did say we can go back as part of the bargain. Will you send us back?
All of you. Give me the ring. Go back to the inn. Take the children and the humans with you. You'll all go back.
Give her the ring.
I wonder why you specified children and humans as separate nouns, but I want to go home.
she needs to
She's
say
gonna-
the thing.
She's okay. You put it in her hand.
Wait, who has the ring?
William.
Yeah, William does. So William will hand her the ring.
All right. She takes it and she puts it on her finger. Now go before I change my mind.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Going.
Sprint.
Out the door.
I can't.
No
You
time
can
for
see
rest, Howard.
The sky is
Carry
quite
me!
red. The sky
Howard's-
is quite red. The
Howard's
trees. You
We're
see
gonna
the
drag
trees
Howard.
begin to start to move like they're uprooting themselves from the ground. They look
Let's
like
go,
that thing
quickly.
in the picture. All right. You run into the glade. The parents, interestingly enough, they were all starting to move towards the path going back to the inn, crying, weeping, their children behind them. The children still seem to be quite happy playing, laughing. So they're like, we'll see you tomorrow. But you don't understand what they're talking about. But as you run into the glade, what do you do then?
People,
Just start.
the bargain has been struck. Your children are free. Go before the sun rises.
The people become suddenly, quite ecstatic. Their children, come with us, children. And the children come running to them. And
Take
then
them to the inn.
Yeah, I was going to
No.
channel my inner Denethor. We struck a new bargain. Flee! Run for your lives.
You,
To the inn.
you run to the inn, and you can hear as you're running a kind of rumble as the forest behind you seems to be sort of closing in on itself. You run forward, you dive through the door of the inn as everybody runs in with you. The only one left behind seems to be Addison.
I shut the door on him.
You don't even know where he was by this point. You run into the inn, and there is a moment when it feels like you and the building are wheeling through space. Do any of you look out the windows?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's like you're in some sort of a wormhole gate or something like that. As there's colors and there's light flying by and strange noises, and you can all do sanity rolls for that moment.
I was hoping.
99.
That's another 000.
Oh, yeah.
I failed.
19. I am taking notes of this wormhole. This is going to prove an excellent publication that will surely not
Did I
be
hear 90?
dismissed.
I heard 99 from Charlie.
000.
Yeah.
Charlie, you're going to take six insanity points and roll an intelligence roll.
All right. So that means I've taken greater than 25% of my total sanity this session.
Okay.
And same here, intelligence roll.
Fail my intelligence.
You failed your intelligence, so you just take the hit points. You're not going to lose your mind. It's like in the Wizard of Oz. The whole building feels like it's shifting and rolling for a moment, and then there's a great grunch like this as the building seems to settle all of a sudden. It's dark outside, but you have a funny feeling that you're now back on the earth. Some of the adults in the room seem kind of odd, their behavior, like they are mentally deficient, like their previous 9 trips have sucked the intelligence right out of their brains, almost to the point of being, mentally handicapped. The children, however, are perfectly normal. And the children don't seem to be aware that they've been away for 5 years.
Perfectly fine. We're in Yorkshire. Shan't be noticed.
So you look out the windows, you can see that you are in fact back. What you guys want to
Gentlemen,
do?
I dare say this may be our last ramble for some time.
Agreed.
Let us go home.
Agreed.
All right. So you step out of the door into the evening air. You're definitely back on the moors. You're right back where you left, with the building right where it was sitting before. And then you notice that the grove of trees all around you is moving. And it would seem that it came with you. And very likely, so did the witch's house. And that's the end of our story.
Dun dun dun.
We're not talking about this.
You know,
Don't
gentlemen, I
blame
really
William and
feel
Patrick.
you know, gentlemen, I really feel we should get more lumberjacks out here.
So this one is one of my favorite shorties because by about an hour and a half or so into it, you guys are thrust with this horrible decision, an ethical decision. Do you leave the children? Do you leave the parents? Even though they wronged you, are you going to try to kill the witch? Is the witch wrong? You get all of these conflicting things, and you all end up sitting there talking to one another for half an hour, trying to figure out what to do. So it doesn't matter what you do because, that's not right. You can do anything you want in this situation because it's all covered here. If you go back to the witch with the ring and just give them to her, she's going to send you and everybody in the glade back anyway, because she doesn't want to have anything to do with them. And she's going to transport herself and her children, the dark young, along with her, because that's her grove where she lived that they sent her from. What happened was they tried the spell, they cut off her hands, they sent her to the devil's realm, but her place was surrounded by dark young. She simply had her dark young grab all the children and bring them with her. So then she had something to bargain with. She kept the children there. The children were unaware that time was passing, so it wasn't hurting the children. She didn't want to hurt the children, but she needed something, and they wouldn't give her her hands back even after 5 years. So
who was killing the ramblers on the moor?
She was. Her dark young were. They were out in the woods. Yeah, kids got to eat. So the dark young were doing that. Addison had the right idea. He knew it was her and or her children, and had tried to find a way to get rid of them, which he did find. Unfortunately, she got the kids, so they were kind of stuck. They'd fucked up the whole thing. So if you had given her the hands and not given her the ring, she would have become furious, and all of her dark young would have been agitated by her anger, and they wouldn't let you go. They would have stomped you or, eaten you in the process. If you had attempted to do the gate spell yourself without rescuing the children or the people, if you had the hand and the ring, then it would have worked, but it would have cost you, what was it? Pow, and you would have to expend your own energy to do it. And the hand would have withered up and just been dead. Auntie and everybody else would have been trapped there forever. Yeah. If you attempted the spell without the hand, my favorite one, nobody's ever done it. You would lack the component to link the two worlds. So you would have had to have done a hard intelligence roll. At least one of you would have had to have gotten a hard intelligence to land on the right planet. Otherwise, you would have just randomly landed somewhere else out in the universe, which would probably have killed you all. But the best one is if I'd have called for that intelligence roll and somebody had fumbled, you would have sucked that entire planet back to Earth with you. and that planet and the Earth would destroy one another in a cataclysm, and that would
Everyone
be
dies.
the end. If
That's
you
an
had killed Auntie, then yeah, the Dark Young would have attacked.
And just tore us apart.
And Addison was there, but at this point he was a mindless puppet. So if you tried to attack Auntie, he would try to stop you. He'd be easy to kill, though. So there's all kinds of outcomes for this.
Well, I
that are
do
kind of
think
fun.
between Howard and Dan, we could have definitely covered the magic cost. We're both big boys and apparently very magical, because I had 12 points just to myself.
It's the POW cost that's the hard thing. 90
Yeah,
points of POW.
90 altogether.
And you don't get POW back.
hmm
So
I kind of,
magic points you get back.
part of me wished we would have attempted and failed the ritual just to have landed on Yuggoth and see how that shakes out.
I've wanted somebody to attempt it and really fail and fumble it so that I could tell them about the end of the world as the two planets collide.
Oh,
As you hear one last overlay. Oh dear.
Oh, bother. Not on a Tuesday, no less.
Our players included Matt Ryan, Dan DePolis, Tyler Hudak, Lex Hurley, and Connor McLean, with yours truly as the keeper of the secrets. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members. You can set up private games. You can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you'd like to help support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 a month helps us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows, and leave us comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.